Montana gets in your DNA. As you come across the rolling part of it from the east and approach the mountains, it's unforgettable. It's something you will remember the rest of your life.
I just looked up at those peaks as we were curving across that river and said, I don't think I can leave.
As soon as I arrived, I was just like, this is it, this is absolutely amazing.
Montana's Rocky Mountain Front is one of America's most dramatic and evocative landscapes. The intersection of miles of unspoiled prairie and endless spectacular mountains. It's the ancestral land of the Blackfeet Nation, whose homeland once stretched for hundreds of miles, and some of the land is home of the Blackfeet Indian Reservation today. Members of the Lewis and Clark expedition passed through the area, but it wasn't until late in the 1800s that it became well known to European Americans. One of them was a man named John F. Stevens, who surveyed a route through the area in 1889 for the Great Northern Railway, which was building a transcontinental line to the Pacific coast. The railway was built through the Blackfeet lands the following year, following Stevens' route over Marias Pass and into the Flathead. At the spot where the Great Northern first entered the mountains, a small town called Midvale developed, the beginnings of what is now East Glacier Park. The Great Northern was led by a man named James J. Hill, one of America's most remarkable railway tycoons. His nickname was the Empire Builder. Hill and his son Lewis recognized the immense beauty of the land around Midvale and Marias Pass and supported the effort to create Glacier National Park. When the park was established in 1910, the railroad set out on an ambitious program to promote the place. Lewis spearheaded the railroad's development work, envisioning a vacation land of hotels and trails across the park. Guests would ride the Great Northern trains as far as Midvale, where the railroad made plans for a grand hotel near the station, along with a complex of outbuildings to serve as the headquarters of the railway's new Glacier Park Hotel Company. Lewis made arrangements to purchase 160 acres of Blackfeet Reservation land. It took an act of Congress to do that. And he put the railway's staff architect to work designing a landmark hotel that honored its spectacular setting. The architect, a man named Samuel Bartlett, drew his design inspiration from the Forestry Building, which was constructed in 1905 for the Lewis and Clark Centennial Exposition in Portland, Oregon. The hotel's front porch and 3-story lobby were framed with unpeeled Douglas fir logs, brought in by rail from the Pacific Northwest.
The Great Northern Railway actually built special rail cars to haul them in, and they extended the rail line right up to what is now the front door of the lodge. If you owned the railroad, you could put the railroad wherever you wanted it, and they did.
The massive logs earned the building a nickname, Big Tree Lodge. A large log archway originally marked the main entrance to the hotel grounds. It was removed in 1933, and by the following year, the vast landscaped garden that now fronts the hotel was in place. A flower-lined promenade connected the hotel to the Great Northern Depot nearby.
There are many stories about Louis Hill from the Great Northern Railway and how particular he was about making certain the right kinds of flowers were planted in that walkway.
Work on the hotel began in 1912, and it officially opened with a grand celebration the following June. Its first season was a success, and in 1914 they opened a large wing called the Annex that more than doubled the hotel's size. Meanwhile, the Great Northern constructed a string of 9 chalet buildings at scenic locations in the park, while also beginning work on the massive Many Glacier Hotel. After a night at the Glacier Park Hotel, guests joined horseback parties or boarded open touring buses to explore the park, overnighting at the railway's other hostelries on the way. The hotel offered its own attractions, like a pool in the basement and the first golf course in Montana, which was open to the public in 1928. Even the employee housing was unique.
The dormitories were out in the pine woods, so you woke up in the morning to this wonderful pine scent. It was a visual delight and sensory delight in every way.
The hotel was most noted for its location on the Blackfeet Reservation, something that was heavily promoted by the railroad. Teepees decorated the hotel's front lawn, and artists and photographers made portraits of tribal members for the railroad's calendars and brochures. The hotel company also hired tribal members to dance and sing at the hotel and demonstrate native crafts. Famed woodcarver John Clark was known to share his work at the lodge and had a studio in the town of East Glacier.
John Clark was deaf. He could do sign language. I couldn't. So we swapped notes. I would walk over to his studio and we spent many an hour together. In 1963, I watched John Clark in his studio just outside of East Glacier Park, Montana. I watched him carve this.
The unique placement of the lodge at the edge of the park and town still gives summer employees a unique perspective on the region.
The lodge is not in the park proper. So you have this melting pot of the reservation, local businesses, the community who lives in East Glacier.
Through the Great Northern years, the hotel complex at East Glacier was the heart of the railroad's Glacier operation. The hotel company's summer offices were there, and there was a central warehouse, laundry, and other support facilities. The central garage for the Glacier Park Transport Company's buses was nearby, and the Great Northern acquired the bus operation in 1955. The hotel's gateway location also made it witness to a variety of special events over the years. There was a gala party at the hotel in 1913 in honor of James J. Hill's 75th birthday. In 1932, the hotel hosted the formal dedication ceremony for the Waterton Glacier International Peace Park. But by the 1950s, as more and more of the park's visitors arrived by car, the railroad lost interest in its park operation. It remodeled its old hotel buildings and changed the name of Glacier Park Hotel to Glacier Park Lodge, and began to seek new owners to take over. After the 1960 season, the railroad sold its Glacier operations to a man named Don Hummel, the mayor of Tucson, Arizona.
When Hummel took over, one of the direct was that we had to work our butts off, quote unquote. He was not a warm and fuzzy person, but he was a terrific business guy. And I give him great credit for having, I think, probably saved the lodges.
Hummel's Glacier Park Incorporated operated the park's concessions for the next 20 years. Other owners followed, and since 2017, the GPI business has operated under the name Pursuit. Though much has changed in the century since Lewis Hill first worked to open Glacier Park to visitors, Glacier Park Lodge still looks much the same, with its grand lobby and its gardens.
Glacier Park Lodge just has this really special wow moment when you walk in and you see the huge Douglas firs and the huge open lobby.
You just walk in and there's these massive trees.
I just imagine what it was like 100 years ago, all the way up into today, and I feel a part of this tradition that's been happening every year for so long.
And though most of the lodge's visitors arrive by car today, some still journey to the park by train, following the route of the old Great Northern Railway, riding a train that is named for James J. Hill, the empire builder.
Working at Glacier Park has defined who I am. Having a chance to meet people from all over the country and all over the world has made me a much more interesting person in every decade of my life.
You come to Glacier, it could open your world up. Glacier Park allowed me to pursue Himalayan mountain climbing in a way that was meaningful and allowed me to test myself and test my abilities. It can take you around the world.
The thing about Glacier Country is it always calls you back. I've done about 5 years at Glacier Park Lodge, and it's my love. It's my special happy place.
My best advice to anybody who comes to Glacier Park to work for the summer: seize every opportunity. Get out there. It is a hiker's park. Hike. Don't hesitate.
You'll find your group and people will embrace you.
I was very nervous about not having friends and not knowing anyone, but the sense of community at Glacier Park Lodge is amazing. You make friends your first day, friends for life. My other half and I kind of applied on a whim, and it has been the best decision we have ever made.